So we were, by the way, we were listening, and I'm gonna go into other things. Oh, let me just say this. Last night at the close of camp, I mentioned the Sabbath, and I asked the men in the audience, when does the Sabbath come in? And they said what they supposed to say, according to the scriptures. The Sabbath comes in based upon a new moon. So I kind of threw it out there and said, okay, so break it down. I don't know if you guys are saying it. Maybe half of you guys believe it and you can see it, and other half can't. The brother next to you can't see it, but he's just going along with the program. He doesn't want to rock the boat, right? So I kind of threw it out there, and a couple of the men pulled out certain precepts. But if somebody was there, they wouldn't get it because there was too many. It was one brother said something, another brother. Then I came in. So you can't just, if you're part of GMS, you can't just say everything that the leadership the apostles, the bishops, the elders, and even among the various state camps that came in during the YouTube era. If we teach something, you guys just can't say, oh, Apostle Ramlab went to that scripture. Yes, that's true, because Apostle Ramlab said Apostle Tahar and Apostle Gabar, they did a sit down along with Bishop Sakaran or whatever, and some of the other bishops were there, and they did a class and they said something, and I go with it. No, you're going off when you do that. You're coming in the spirit of IUIC. And that's why they getting. That's why, hey, the new thing we watched, listening to them last night out there in France, some Arab police made these guys take their shoes off and socks and walk home. You ain't got no. That shit ain't never happened. Can you imagine if that happened in America? I wish it. Well, our shoes were taken off, but we were booked. But they let us keep our socks on, and they didn't. And we got locked up, and they gave us.
All right. Shalom. Giving all praise, glory, and honor be to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kudash. Double honors to the beloved apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well, Salakia. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David, beginning with the 144,000 and the rest of the men, women, and children out of the 12 tribes, whom Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai will ultimately have mercy upon. I'm your brother Matazabath from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Melbourne, Australia. And I wanted to do a land back off the beloved Elder Apostle Tahar, going into basically studying to show thyself approved. All right. And when he called out GMS members to, go into the breakdown dealing with the Sabbath, and stating that when it comes to teaching a particular subject, and let's say it doesn't even have to be on the Sabbath, but let's say with anything, don't just because you heard the apostles break it down that way, there's a difference. You should be able to break it down, not only the way that the apostles have taught you, but going in and adding more based upon your studies and your findings. All right. Because Salakia, the scripture says, let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. OK. And so I wanted to use this opportunity to just go into proving that the Sabbath indeed is dictated by the new moon. All right. So I want to show you the scriptures that we use. All right. But I'm also going to show you it's a simple research if you just look things up using your due diligence. OK. Now, first and foremost, when you look up, which is what I've done, I looked up, I typed into Google, I said, if the new moon represents the first day of the month, it would also dictate which day the Sabbath would fall on. Now, AI says this. No, If the new moon represents the first day of the month, it does not inherently dictate which day the Sabbath would fall on, which that's incorrect. And we'll show you why in a minute. It says, even if the new moon is considered a holy day, the Sabbath, whether it is the seventh day of the week, and then they put Saturday, or another day of the week, is a distinct concept related to a weekly cycle of rest, not a lunar cycle, right? Now, however, let me see here if I got my Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. That's Salakia. Let me see here. Yep. Now, I'm going to turn to page, let's see, page 98. And I'm going to show you what the scholars said. All right. Because now this is why you have to be diligent and study and search. Right. Now, they said that it's not based off the lunar cycle. Now, this is from the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary that I'm reading in my hand at the moment. On page 98, and I'm looking at the definition of the word calendar. Now it says here, during the Bible period, time was reckoned solely on astronomical observations. It says days, months, and years were determined by the sun and the moon. And the days of the week were not named by the Jews, but were designated by ordinal numbers. Now, as you continue to drop down, it says the Israelite week had its origin in the creation account and ran consecutively irrespective of lunar or solar cycles. This was done for man's physical and spiritual warfare. So your top biblical scholars, you don't think that they would have known this history? All right. But the AI is saying that it wasn't based upon lunar. So then the next step was I went to type this in and I asked, if the Sabbath was on the seventh day of the week, why do we associate it with Saturday if the Jews did not name the days of the week? All right. It says the association of the Shabbat with Saturday arises from the seventh day observance established in Ish tradition, which is also reflected in the Hebrew language and the Christian understanding of the Shabbat. And while Ish tradition doesn't name the days of the week specifically, which we read in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary because we went by ordinal numbers, which and an example of that would be day 1, day 2, day 3, so forth and so on. It says the Shabbat remains a distinct day, and its observance on the seventh day naturally coincides with Saturday and the standard week. Now, what they don't tell you when you do your research, the reason why it coincides with Saturday is because they merged it with the Gregorian calendar, because we use today the days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all right, to name the days, which goes back to Roman gods. But when you do your research, you will find that the Israelites never named the days of the week, right? So clearly AI is going off. Now, what they don't tell you, and this took me a while to find, you have something that's called the lunar Shabbat calendar, which is what the Israelites went upon. And you can find this on the Lunar Sabbath Encyclopedia. Now, it says the lunar Shabbat calendar is a lunisolar calendar in which the days of the month and the days of the week are determined by the cycle of the moon. You see that? And we're going to get some precepts to back this up. You know what? Let's get the first precept. Let's get Genesis 1:14. It said, and the Elohim said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. So the lights in the firmament above are for signs, for seasons, for days and years. You see that? So coming back here, it says the first day of the month and the new moon day is and the following day will be the first day of the week. This means that the timing of the Sabbath day, okay, the seventh day of the week will change each month instead of always occurring on a regular 7-day cycle. Example, on Saturday, hence the term lunar Sabbath. This is something that IUIC does not understand because they say that the Shabbat falls every Friday night sundown to Saturday night sundown, which is incorrect because the Israelites didn't base it upon that. You won't find Friday or Saturday in the Bible. Okay. We used to have watches. They kept watch throughout the night, different periods. All right. We can look that up. If you go here and let's type in let's see here. Okay. Did the Israelites have watches of time throughout the day and evening? I typed. It says, yes, the ancient Israelites divided the night into 3 distinct watches or periods, used primarily for military purposes and to denote the passing of time. These watches were the evening watch, midnight watch, and morning watch, roughly corresponding to sunset to 10 p.m., 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., and 2 a.m. to sunrise. Okay. Let's see here. How did people tell time in the Bible? In biblical times, the day started at sunset, not midnight. And you got some Israelites that said that, it will begin at midnight or it will begin at dawn. No, the day ends, all right, and starts at sunset. So say, for instance, when evening comes, Sunday evening, all right, that's it. It is the next day at evening. It's a new day. Okay. So now let's type this in to see what AI also said. Let's see here. Did the Israelites go by a lunar calendar? It says, yes, the Israelites used a luni-solar calendar, meaning their calendar was based on both the lunar cycle's moon and the solar cycle's sun. Did we not just read that in Genesis 1:14? It says the months followed the phases of the moon, but the year was synchronized with the seasons by adding an extra month every few years. Okay. So it was based upon the lunar calendar, right? But see here, it tells you that the Sabbath was not dictated by a lunar cycle. So my question would be, if you're basing your days, your months, even your feasts upon the moon, and if we know that the new moon represents the first day of the week and we use ordinal numbers, how will you be able to determine the Sabbath? All right. And that brings me back to this right here. Okay. The lunar Shabbat month. It says each month of the lunar Shabbat calendar begins with the new moon day. You see, it says the reckoning of this day is done using various methods, such as calculating the lunar conjunction or by observation of the crescent moon. The new moon day is followed by 4 weeks that consist of 6 working days and a Shabbat. This results in the Shabbats always falling on the 8th, 15th, 22nd, 29th of the month. See this example in the calendar. So if we go right here, you have the new moon on a Tuesday. Okay. So day 1 will start Tuesday evening to Wednesday. All right. You have day 1 Wednesday, day 2 Thursday, day 3 Friday, day 4 Saturday, day 5 Sunday, day 6 Monday, and then day 7 is the Shabbat. So if we're using the Gregorian calendar, simply naming the days of the week, all right, Monday through Sunday, The Shabbat, according to this calendar, because the new moon came in on the Tuesday eve, okay? Or you could say the Monday eve to Tuesday, okay? The Shabbat, all right? The new moon day. For the next 4 weeks, your Sabbaths are going to fall on a Tuesday. But see, remember, it told us that it says this means that the timing of the Shabbat day will change each month instead of always occurring on a regular 7-day cycle. This is how we know that if the Israelites, as we proved, they went based upon the lunar calendar, that would have mean that their Shabbat could not have always been Friday evening to Saturday evening, because the new moon comes in different days every month. It does not tune into the same day every month. Okay. So this is why you have to study to show thyself approved. Now, let's go to the Apocrypha. Let's get Sirach 43 and 6. It says, he made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. So the moon and her seasons was given for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. Okay. If you remember in the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks being stranded on the island, when his watch wasn't working because it got water from him crashing on a plane in the ocean, he looked up at the moon, and the night that he looked up in the sky, the moon was full. Now, when you look up a full moon, it'll tell you that a full moon, all right, comes in every 14th or the 15th day of the month. So that lets you know you have 2 weeks left until the next new moon. So if you ever are in a situation where you forget the date, or not so much the date, but the time, all right, you don't know what time period you are. You don't know, how far in a month you're in. If you look up at the moon, you can pretty much dictate the not only the time, but also how far you are within a month. So again, if it's a full moon, you know that, okay, let's say if it's in the center of the sky, you know it's got to be somewhere around 12 to 1 p.m. at noon. And when the sun goes down, all right, and Salaki, I said that wrong. If it's, let's say, a sunny day, all right, the sun is highest point in the sky, center of the sky, that has to be about noonday. And let's sets at evening, then the moon comes out. It's a full moon, right? You know that you are halfway through the month, which means you have 2 weeks left before the end of the month and the new moon comes. All right. So the way that the Heavenly Father through his son Yahweh Shai set it up is actually beautiful, man. The ordinances are great, right? And so let me see here. Let's go to Psalms 104 and 19. It says, he appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going down. All right. So the moon is for seasons, right? But it's also for when you go into a different translation. All right. Let me see here. NET says he made the moon to mark the months, and the sun sets according to a regular schedule. You see that? So goes back to Genesis 1. Okay. It was set for signs, days, seasons, years, etc., etc. All right. So this is why we say to people that, if you are an Israelite and you're coming into this truth, and let's say you've been worshiping the Sabbath Friday night sundown to Saturday night sundown, then you stumble across the true understanding on how the Shabbat is meant to be kept. Wouldn't you want to keep it the correct way? All right. Fearing Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Why sit up there and just be lazy and continue to, well, I'm just going to continue celebrating Friday night, Sunday, or Saturday night, Sunday, because I just been doing it for so long. No. If you are a true man of Yahweh Shem Shai, you want to do everything right to the best of your ability, rehearsing the righteous acts. Right? Does not the scripture say that? Let's get that. Salakia. Let's get Job. Not Job. What am I talking about? Judges. Judges 5 and 11. It says, they that are delivered from the noise of the archers represents the missiles in the places of drawing water. And where do we go? A place of drawing water? America. There shall they rehearse the righteous acts of Yahweh, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. Then shall the people of Yahweh go down to the gates. All right. And we're currently rehearsing the righteous acts right now. OK, that's why it tells you in the New Testament that let me get that. I think that's in Colossians. Let me see. Colossians 2. And yeah, Colossians 2:16 and 17, it says, let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of an holy day or of the new moon or of the Sabbath days, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Hamashiach. All right, because we're not going to completely do it correctly on this side, being in captivity and whatnot. OK, so really, it's a shadow of what's to come in the kingdom, because when the kingdom comes, we're gonna get it right. All we doing right now is rehearsing the righteous acts, and part of rehearsing the righteous acts is what you're supposed to seek ye the old paths. Let's grab that. All right. Oh man, blue letter is getting harder and harder, boy. I tell you. Yeah, Jeremiah 6 and 16. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, stand ye in the ways and see and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. All right. We supposed to, there's also one in, what is it, Deuteronomy, let's see here, Deuteronomy 32 and 8. 32 and 7, Salaki, it says, remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee thy elders, and they will tell thee. All right. So we have the elders, beginning with the apostles on down, telling us the way that things used to be. It's just a matter of you taking upon yourself being diligent within your studies and looking up these things. All right. Because Israel did keep the lunar Sabbath, which let's go back and prove that. Yes, the Israelites used a lunisolar calendar, which means they based it upon the moon. All right. See here. The Israelites recognized the significance of both the moon and the sun. The moon was seen as a symbol of the Most High's faithfulness, and the sun symbolized the idea of creation, the cycle of seasons, ensuring their religious festivals were celebrated in the correct time of year. You see? So there you go, man. Let me see. Yeah, lunisolar, based on lunar months. All right. So this is, I mean, like, come on, man. You see how AI be tripping, man. You know, but this teaches you to learn how to word it properly so that you can get the true answer. So if the Israelites calendar system was based upon the lunar calendar, all right, it tells you that the lunar Sabbath, okay, the Sabbath is based upon the new moon. It tells you that. That's why it says that the Sabbath day the Sabbath will change each month instead of always occurring on the regular seventh day of the week. That's why we know that the Sabbath can't always be Friday night, Sunday out, or Saturday night, Sunday out every single month, because the new moon comes in differently every month. You see what I'm saying? So, that's pretty much all I wanted to grab into. I just wanted to, do a quick response to the beloved Elder Apostle Tahar statement. If you are in GMS and you've been taught, is always good to, take it with a grain of salt. And you're supposed to be going out, doing your own research and seeing what we are being taught is absolutely correct. And then it's up to you to be fully persuaded in your own mind. Don't be like IUIC where you just come in and we give a precept package. Now you become the purple and gold precept package boys. And then you just start, giving out, precepts, but yet you don't really, either you really don't understand it, but you can just quote and regurgitate what you hear, right? But you really don't, you really don't understand it. And you don't really know how to break it down. You just break it down based upon how you're taught, right? Now, what we do here at Great Millstone is when we're taught something, okay, we write it down and then we go back to the drawing board and we do more research because there's more things that we can add to that, all right, to be able to help when teaching it, all right, hoping that you'll be fully persuaded and that you would get it through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. That's why every Great Millstone brother who's doing faithfully his videos every week, sit downs, going out, to camp every weekend or so, or midweek, whatever they can to do based upon their schedule. Brothers is on fire, man. When they're going into their breakdowns, they're giving history lessons. They're adding things, factual information on top of factual information. All right. And that's not to say that IUIC don't do it, because look, I got to give credit where credit is due. IUIC be getting down on some historical events and stuff like that. OK, but for the most part, they go off on their doctrine. OK, they go off on the names of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, not Salakia, making it a problem calling on the names of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. So we have to be very careful dealing with the word of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai that has been entrusted into us to raise up the elect, man, because each of us will be held accountable in the day of judgment. All right. According to every idle word, thus saith Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, Matthew the 12th chapter. So, yeah, I'm going to end it there. I don't want this to be too long. I just, wanted to hit it right on the point. And Abaratazai was edifying. And I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David. All right, it's on to the next. Shalom.
I'm going to take everything from you, like you took everything from me.